Welcome, everybody, to the Friday live stream here on the Independent Investor channel. It is 9 o'clock Friday for the fastest 60 minutes on YouTube. No doubt, love to welcome everybody that's been with me a while and all the new subscribers to the channel. And if it's your first time making your way into the Independent Investor channel live stream, congratulations. Okay. Very, very important for us to roll out a support nexus like mine. I think you'll find that my message is slightly different, and that's great. A lot of different opinions out there, a lot of different approaches to building wealth in the stock market, and I think the thinking heads that have been involved with the stock market for quite many years, and maybe even in some cases decades. I know there's a lot of experienced investors here in the group would agree with me that there's a lot of different ways to succeed in the market. Absolutely. But over the last few days, anyway, doled out a little retracement. And, I want to kind of be that voice of reason a little bit. I think sometimes it really comes down to your perspective about the market. And I certainly do gravitate toward those YouTube creators who I think echo somewhat of the same message as I do, in that, investing can be very, very, very enjoyable, very rewarding, very, very fulfilling. It can bring about a sense of fulfillment to yourself to know that you're doing right, and you're making those proactive steps. I've always said, the folks that are not taking the time to seek out what investing can have or what it can mean for your life, especially over the long term, I think are really missing out. And I honestly think that not investing is more risky than actually investing. Okay. But here's the thing. If you're invested in the stock market, you're never going to be immune to downturn or retracement in the stock market, et cetera. It's just part of the gig. Okay. Markets go up, markets go down. I don't watch TV anymore, guys. So I guess based on the pulse that I get, that the market's retraced a little bit, I could kind of get that monitoring the portfolio a little bit, what little bit I do monitor it. But I do want to give a special shout out to Gen X Dividend Investors who's in the group here as well. Super good friend of the channel. I just had JMac Investing also just pop into the gallery, so we'll bring him on tonight too, just as a special treat. Round table, get the pulse from JMac Investing, just another corner of the YouTube investing community, man. And I tell you what, it is indeed special. Where the market's going to go into next week, I don't know. I've been taking some interesting strategic moves in the market, leaving a lot of what I established here within the last year or so alone. You guys know I've been taking a little bit of a strategic push to move a little bit more of the portfolio to a passive. Okay. I don't want to be one of those YouTube guys that come on and don't practice what I preach. And I think that's where the majority of people need to be. And I deploy 5 different strategies in my program. Each of them kind of have their own swim lane. I'm typically not all over the place. But the passive investing strategy that I deploy, I don't put a whole heck of a lot of effort into. Okay. It's kind of pick your allocation and set it and forget it. And it's really, really, really interesting to take a look at how some of the portfolio or accounts have kind of taken root here. It's really nice. I kind of do that, number one, because I was very interested in the strategy, but I do roll those out to you guys for transparency. So we do have the portfolio reviews tonight. I am going to talk about, I think we're off just a few bits anyway in the portfolio. No big deal. I don't really look at a few day retracement. I guess that's what's going on. Again, I picked that up from the pulse of the crew. But I absolutely always want to keep this focus on you guys, and we are making a difference, one investor at a time. I sat through a lot of Zoom meeting opportunities. I dropped one link into the thread for you guys if you're interested to kick over to www.independentinvestorgroup.com. There's no No problem for you guys kicking on there, perusing. Check out the website. It's kind of cool. I'm pretty proud of it. It really turned out well. 2020 was the year of my my group.com. It's a it's an awesome product because it brings people to me who seek out that opportunity. And I tell you what, you've got the opportunity to sit with me for a 60-minute Zoom session. I advertise that it's 30 minutes. That's ridiculous, because I take as long as I need with people. And for the folks that sat with me this week, a special shout out goes out to Ruben over there in London, UK. 28-year-old professional, man, just doing it and wants to embolden that investing slice, become a participant in the market, adding a different layer into the portfolio. Just an absolute pleasure for me to reach beyond the borders through the power of social media. I was just kind of laughing. I was tickled a little bit. I told him, I was like, geez, when would I ever have the chance to, I've never been to UK. It's on my bucket list for sure. But what a great opportunity to bring people together, and also to be able to sit down with Gordon. And I don't want to go into too much detail, man, but a self-employed business owner, man, that's the heart of this country, and it's just looking at the investing landscape and is like, where do I go? Where do I turn? And I take those opportunities very, very seriously. I really do. I think sometimes when they search out information over social media, I can understand that there's some care and some hesitation. I'm that same way. I'm very, very critical of reaching out across the aisle, and trying to ask somebody for help. As a matter of fact, I made the statement this week, I'm usually out front leading. So I think for the most part, I'm a very good leader, but at times you've got to be that follower and you got to kind of humble yourself. And I do that sometimes. I do it on Jason's channel. I do it on Gen X's channel, who are some of my top tier favorite YouTubers. I don't frequent YouTube as much as I probably should. But Matt and Kyle and those guys, Joe Carlson as well, is right up there in that group of really folks that are putting content out there to the masses that get it. They really do. And I would say that our approach to the stock market is something to be acknowledged. This type of stuff doesn't really bother us too much because of our strategic plan that we have in place. We've spent many years in some cases fine-tuning that plan, kind of preparing ourselves for that what if in the stock market, that opportunity to really, you want to be able to win in both markets. I say this all the time, and I think that goes in one ear and out the other a lot of times when I say it. But man, it's very, very important to sit back and say, man, Ryan's saying you can win in both markets. Yes, but the win on the downside is a little bit different strategy, right? It's the defense, right? It's the diversification. It's the ability to enter into your portfolio at cheaper stock prices, right? Winning on the appreciation side is very, very simple. Everybody gets to look at their portfolio and come in and celebrate every Friday. Whoopee, look at me. I'm awesome. I'm up, right? I tend to take those a little more as a grain of salt. It's never really as good as you think it is, or a grain of sand, whatever the hell it is. It's never as good as you think that it is, and it's probably not as bad as you think it is either. So with that said, I want to welcome everybody, man. I'll get to the shout outs for sure as I can comb through. Once I bring Jason onto the live stream, I can start to kind of go in here and acknowledge some folks a little bit more in depth, because I tell you what, man, each and every person in this community is part of something special, man. Your personal empowerment journey is just one piece in the puzzle of the independent investor channel community. No doubt about it. So welcome, guys. Look forward to a riveting 60 minutes here, and just glad to see everybody. I'm not so sure about riveting, but that intro is pretty cool, man. I don't know. It gets me fired up for sure. I like it. I saw Jason backstage. He was kind of jamming a little bit. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Have a little fun here on the stock market. I think it's fun for me sometimes to sit back and watch. Everybody came in and had to report to me at work today that GameStop was making a second shoot to the moon. I was like, wow, thanks, man. Tell me a joke or something. It doesn't, I don't care. But I guess it's just, kind of funny to see kind of what's going on in the market with Bitcoin and, GameStop and AMC and, the Teslas of the world. All is fair in love and war. I never said the stock market was perfect. It can be for those people who can deploy a little bit of discipline and carve out that piece of the stock market that makes sense to themselves. And you don't necessarily need to grab everything. And you certainly want to make sure that you're investing in a way that makes sense for you in all seriousness. I wrote some rhetorical questions down here and make sure that you can answer some of those questions as to why you enter into the stock market. What's your definition of investing? All right. Why you're doing this. Okay. What you hope to get out of it. All right. And once you start to kind of deliberate on those things, you can really take some comfort in knowing that when the stock market starts to retrace, that you've got a few things there at your disposal that you may be able to reach into your tool bag and start to deploy a little bit. As I've done this week, I had a strategic angle to go ahead and introduce a little bit more passive into my wife's account, and that's what I did. A little bit more passive. My new position in the Qs, I bought that high. It's obviously run up quite significantly over the last year. I've never owned it, but it seemed to make sense to me owning a little bit in the joint brokerage account. So with that, I'm going to go through the portfolios real quick. Then I'm going to bring Jason on real quick, and we're going to finish out the live stream together as we always do. When Jason pops on here, I just enjoy the heck out of it because it allows me to focus a little bit more on the questions that come through here. But here's the taxable, a little bit of retracement. We dropped below the six-figure mark. No big deal. A lot of the drawdown in the portfolio is mostly aimed at the Hyliion situation, which I've got a fairly heavy position on. That's no big deal. For me, I don't really see a whole heck of a lot of difference in this stock between 20 and 15. I really don't. I really think it's probably waving at a lot of people right here, which is interesting. I think in hindsight, it may provide that kind of like real ease of opportunity for people, because I think at some point over the next, coming months or even weeks, I don't know. I mean, even from week to week, it has its glimmers of opportunity, and it can really dole out some quick appreciation. With that said, I think anybody who's interested in the company at this point is being provided ample opportunity to take a strategic stab if it fits well in your portfolio. But that's how the portfolio shook out. I was glad to expire 4 contracts on Hyliion. Obviously, I don't think I'm going to be engaging in a whole lot of that because it ran right through my 17.5 strike, ran all the way up through that battery news. And I thought for sure they were going to get called away. They never did. All the way up above 20. I had a 17.5 on it and never did. So I was able to render a 415 contract on the 4 contracts. So that was pretty lucrative. Probably not the best way to realize a good premium contract on there, but I stayed true. And I tell you what, those options, man, you got to buy into that stuff and you got to stay with your program. You can't freak out every time, you get something that increases past your strike price. You got to kind of stay with your program. And if those are going to be called away, you got to pick that strike price that you're willing to part with the stock on. But there's the brokerage. Here's Roth 1. Here it is. Retrace a touch. You can obviously see here I'm a little cash rich in the portfolio. No real major changes. I did take some profits in some of the larger positions just to draw down a little bit of the sector exposure. I told you guys I was overweight in industrials. I wanted to pare back on that. So I've aligned a little bit. I pared back a little bit. I didn't want to sell WP Carry, but I did really just to take some of that exposure. I did pull back on 50 shares of Realty Income Core. just to kind of align that sector exposure a little bit more in line with where I wanted them, because I'm kind of a portfolio hawk as far as that goes. I think a good, sound, diversified portfolio is the way to go. And here's Roth 2. Again, a little cash rich there. Good mix of growth, some speculation in the portfolio, some value. Nothing too crazy. You can see there the cash allocation, right? Then you got the M1 account. That was actually up this week. So go figure. The passive wins, I guess. So I'm up $100 or so. No big deal. And then the dividend growth portfolio. This is going to be a project strategically in 2021. I'm going to look to grow this up. This is fantastic. Got lucky exiting the ARK ETFs when I did. Sold in the upper 150s. I really did sell at a high on most all of them. They've retraced with Tesla coming back. I think they'll be fine long term. I like the funds. I really do. But for me, I kind of got cold feet and I questioned if it was really in line with what I wanted out of that M1 portfolio. And I figured from a dividend growth perspective, I wanted to leverage the power of M1 in a similar way that Joe Carlson is doing as well. I'm in a position where I can strategically fund this up over time. So that's what I'm doing. TSP, no big deal. Nothing crazy. Contracts, I'm cooling down just a couple leaps on Cisco and Exxon. No big deal. I'm taking a little bit of a pause. And today was a big expiry day. So I was able to have all of the February 26 contracts expire today worthless, which was some great news. Little bit of a bright spot in the portfolio. And then right there still 465, whatever it is. That's the number, guys. So obviously a retracement, a lot of it just being drugged down a little bit by the Hyliion. I guess I don't know if it was the earnings call. It was I caught it on Jason's channel actually. He shared that through his YouTube channel, which I appreciate. I didn't comment, but I was there. I watched the whole thing, and then I went back and I actually read the transcript because I interpret different things when I read something. But you give me a thumbs up, Jay. Let me know you're ready, man. I'm gonna bring you on the live stream, man, if you don't mind. You're like a honorary guest of the channel. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, man? I think you're on mute. I think.
Better now?
Yeah, loud and clear, man.
Okay, great.
What's going on, man?
Not too much. Not too much. Just hanging out in the background here. Yeah, you got to hook me up on who made that video, the intro. That thing is fire. I mean, I know I've heard it many times, but
Yeah, I made
uh,
it. I made
you
it.
did for
Yeah.
real.
Oh yeah.
What'd you make it with? What
I made
tool?
it with iMovie,
Oh,
iMovie and Canva, a mix of both actually.
okay.
So they got little video snippets on Canva Pro, and actually I'm affiliated with them, Jay. But stick with me after, or I can send you something. I don't know what you use for your thumbnails. You may be able to use it on that software to do that. But yeah, I mean, I can kind of show you that stuff on the account. Yeah, I did that. It was yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. I thought you had paid somebody for that. That's nice. Yeah. Very well done.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. How's the family, Jay? Everything good?
Everybody's good. I mean, we've been a little sick this week,
Ah,
the whole family, and we thought it was COVID. We got tested. It wasn't COVID, so we're good on that
good,
note.
man.
But
Good.
so yeah, just a little something going around. So,
Yeah.
but that was early in the week, and so we're better now. So thanks for asking. How about yours?
Yeah, we're all good. Usually when the market does this, I find excuses to bear down at work or hit the gym a few more times a week. I've been paying particular attention. It's funny too, man. I got a lot of portfolio holdings, but I've been really, really aggressive on paying attention to this Hyliion story. And the report that was just rolled out. There was a couple soft spots in the report that I was kind of like, I wish he could elaborate a little bit. So I don't know if that's like really good gamesmanship or he really has got something behind the scenes. I think the verdict is still out as far as that goes because, right, when he
Yeah,
alluded to the fleet, I was kind of like, the fleet, man. He gave us the Peterbilt news, which was interesting.
yeah,
I don't know
because
what your thoughts are.
well, I mean, like the main thing is they've already selected the fleets. Why not name them? So that was yeah, they should have named them that. But I'm still of the mind, just like I said last time, and just my philosophy on it is, and until they ink a deal with Hypertruck ERX, it's still going to be we're still in an accumulation phase for a
Yep.
little while. So, which is great for anyone who missed it, or
Yeah.
but it's to me nothing nothing has changed. It's the
No.
story hasn't changed. It really just keeps getting better. But we'll just see.
I would note a couple positive changes that I picked up on the transcript after I read it with the hybrid system re-rack. I thought that was encouraging. I thought that I thought that proved to me some responsibility on behalf of the company, having the third party consultant come in on two different aspects of the business, I might add. I thought that was very, very mature for such a young company to do that. Um, and then I think a lot of that had to do with the new battery increase, right? So that's the heart of their hybrid system and ERX system anyway, right? So they wanted to incorporate that in there. And I think Healy just kind of roped that in there and said, well, there was some technological improvements, some packaging improvements, some durability improvements, etc. So that was music to my ears. It was nice to hear Sherry Baker speak for the first time. What a sharp whip! That she's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about the other board members, but yeah, no, I think you're right. But there was one section that was alluding to once those fleets are kind of rolled out, you can kind of see how these windows of opportunity to buy the stock are going to close eventually.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So, but enough about that news anyway. What you got shaking on the cooker, man? What's new?
Not too much. I don't want to talk all about SPACs. I won't, because it was SPACs really got murdered. They always do when there's a
Uh-huh.
downturn, especially when the Nasdaq gets hit. They kind of go into the same bucket as small cap stocks. They get decimated. So they got decimated this week. But fortunately, I had reallocated and consolidated down to a few positions
Yeah, you have.
just the day before all this happened, and it wasn't planned. So my Patreons thought I was genius or something because I did it, but it really I
Yeah.
really had no clue. So that had me having a whole bunch of free cash. So,
Good.
but I wound up actually spinning it spinning it up too fast anyway. But then also one other cool thing I got going on is I had a 401k and I'm rolling that into now my Roth. It was actually it was a split. It was a
Yeah.
some of it was a Roth 401k and some of it
Yep.
was a traditional
Traditional.
401k. So
Hmm.
I'm splitting it into two accounts, a Roth
Nice.
IRA and a traditional IRA. And that's going to hit like on Monday, which if the market's downturn, it's going to be perfect timing.
Perfect, man.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
have a nice chunk of change, so that's gonna be great.
Yeah, I mean, working with options is never a bad thing. I thought you had done that before already. So you must have had multiple 401ks with the companies that you've been with then.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I've been talking about it for a while. I just
Oh, gotcha.
yeah, yeah. I think I've been kind of hemming and hawing for a little while about it. But
Yeah.
I had an outstanding 401k loan that I paid off, so that was kind of what the holdup was.
Oh, gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
how does that feel?
Oh, it feels fabulous. Yeah, I've
Dude.
one thing is for sure. I have me and my wife have taken care of basically all consumer debt now, and just a couple grand left, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's gonna be real easy to finish that up, and we're we wanted to get all of that taken care of before we buy this house, and so now we're gonna move into this house with no debt, no consumer debt. We still got a little bit of student loans, still got a little bit of student loans.
That's
But
okay. Yeah.
we're hoping Biden wipes that out, though. But I don't want to get political and get people fired up.
No,
uh,
no, I think you're right. That might be an initiative that rolls down the pike. I think that
yeah,
would be awesome. I mean, at some point you took an investment in yourself, and those things are kind of tough because they consume you. I've had family that's been wrapped up in that stuff, and it's like, man, you do it, you get a good job, and you're making a good salary, but you've always got that kind of looming until you can figure out something to chip it away. And even though the interest rates are usually somewhat workable. It's there.
Yeah.
And you'd rather it not be. So yeah, I'm hoping for you, man. But that's killer. I think something to note too, Jason. It's kind of funny too because you've approached the investing opportunity at the same time. Whereas, Dave Ramsey takes a little bit different approach to this, and that you've got to focus, and, eat them farver beans for, many, many years until you chip that debt all the way down. And I don't know if you've got 2 cents on that, but I will say great job. I've been there and done that. There's a lot of people that can resonate with that. And it just speaks to working on that fitness it'll make you a better investor, Jason, right? Because that surplus will go toward home equity or it'll go toward investments, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I will say, I guess I could say that some of it has came from just having a different income streams that have come along the way over the course of the last year or two.
Yes.
But at the same time, if I guess I could have found those in other ways as well, if it weren't, so But in other words, I'm just saying.
Bro,
Um,
you got to be stoked, man. You got to be stoked, man. Last year was your year, man. You know,
yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
I'm a fan, right? I sit back and I'm like, I like to see good people get ahead. Let me just say that. You know what I'm saying? I love to see good folks get ahead. And I think that's what a lot of this community is about in a lot of different forms or fashion. I think they can come in and they can enjoy your success a little bit too, Jason. Not copy what you're doing. I sure as hell don't try. Jesus, what you're doing is unique to the JMac show. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But as a fan and a friend, I'm super proud of you, man. You've killed it. I don't think you could have rolled it out or thought it to be any better than what it's been. Now
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
lean on it and have fun with it.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did get them fired up in the comments. So
Oh, you kidding me?
switch gears. No more politics in the comment section, guys. Let's talk back about stocks and investing. Um, so I did to switch into regular stocks. I did buy
Sure.
something I'm excited about too. That I think a lot of people might be as well. I bought my daughter a share of Airbnb, and
Yeah.
so I think Airbnb is going to be a long-term disruptive company for many years. Of course, yes, all of the
Interesting.
everything the IPOs has a balloon valuation,
Yeah.
but it is a company that I believe will grow into its valuation and then some, many multiples over. So I don't know what you think about Airbnb, but
I
I was
love it.
I was
I
excited to
love
get
it.
her stock of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so my thoughts are really simple. You didn't want to buy her Tesla.
Well,
You can give her your Tesla.
that's already ran. It probably has some
It,
more legs, but I wanted to get
sure,
her something
sure.
like that.
Yeah.
This is like year one that it came out. I told her I paid about $200. I said I think it's probably going to be a company that eventually goes to like $1,000 or maybe splits at some point.
Oh,
And
it will.
she was
It
all
will.
excited. She was excited. She was like $1,000. I was like,
Oh
yeah,
man.
you're going to own a stock that's going to go to $1,000. So
I think it's fabulous. So my 2 cents on Airbnb are really simple. I'd rather own it than Marriott.
oh, for sure, yeah,
Here's the thing. Like, I think this pandemic has changed a lot. For me personally, I got given the opportunity to get vaccinated, and it was like, yeah, I'm in. Like, there was no deliberation for me personally. I think different than most people. If people don't get my sense, they've been with me a while, they know I think different. But I think it has changed a lot of the way we view staying at hotels, staying in places that we know carte blanche that there's been 20 other strangers in that room in the same week, right?
right,
And I'm not saying in 5 years it's not going to return back to the way that it used to be. But here's the thing, man. Me personally, I don't know if my comfort level will ever be the same. Looking at cruise industry, looking at airlines, looking at traditional hotel chains, which were predicated upon the ability to put that hotel right next to the freeway and know that they're going to win business. Whereas Airbnb is so much more advanced in stepping into an opportunity. We're thinking about actually becoming a participant in the Airbnb opportunity
right,
because, strategically, I mean, if you could stay in a two-room bungalow, and my wife's from Europe, right? So, there are places over there in Europe that you don't even know exist, brother. Trust me, I've been there. There's some beautiful places, Austria, Croatia. She's from the Czech Republic. It's you could spend a lifetime just looking at castles over there. And where are you going to stay? They don't have hotel chains over there, okay? But if you've got the ability to go to some of those strategic locations, I'll tell you, when I went to St. Martin, Jay, 2 years ago, everybody I talked to was staying in an Airbnb.
Right.
Everybody. They
Yeah.
weren't staying at the big resorts. They were staying in Airbnbs.
That's right, and that's the thing about it is, I mean, I see some couple negative comments about it in the chat, but
I'm cruising.
it's already international, so it's not something like it's not one of these companies that is a new company and they're thinking about expanding it international. This was already an international company, as you're saying right there, and they're just going to expand internationally, and it's like once they have already become the term. I want to get an Airbnb, not I want to get a hotel. I want to get an Airbnb. So
Bingo.
they already are the brand name internationally. So for someone thinking that fees are high or things just don't fit in your investing matrix, I totally understand, and it might be too much of a high valuation. But this is the way I've shifted gears. I think I really try to think 10, 20 years out who's going to be the leader, and rather than looking at companies that now are the leader, because a lot of the now leaders are getting disrupted. That's just the way. That's just the nature of this thing now.
It's always been that way. You got to be kind of careful, like you're right. And I think this philosophy that you just touched on is really, really sharp. And it's worth spending a couple moments on this whole like Kathy Wood kind of style, right? And I don't want to say it's one and the same, Jason, but what you just said was really smart. That's exactly what it is. It's like, where are these companies going to be even in 5 years? Like, I mean, 20 years down the line is, you can almost take any value stock even and push it out 20 years and it does well, right? Eventually those good companies will come to a head. But what an exciting time right now with what's going on. Some of these areas, Airbnb is a small pocket. I like the buy for your daughter. I think it's great. But with 5G infrastructure, right, with genomic mapping, some of the healthcare stuff, obviously with EV, I mean, that's an area of focus for mine. The revamping of the financial institutions, obviously cryptocurrency, right? I
Well,
mean,
even utilities, they're gonna wind up having to acquire and accumulate solar and all of those different renewables because it's just going to become mandatory. So yeah, all of your absolutely every segment and every sector that was a potential disruptive segment or sector is
yep,
now kind of in an advanced stage of getting disrupted in some manner or fashion. I'll give you another one. I'll give you a freebie
shoot,
for SPACs. Anyone who wants a SPAC is and it's actually a well established company that's very big. It's called Wheels Up, and it's a private airline company that's flourished throughout the pandemic because a lot of
yep,
people who used to take first class and or whatever business trips, now. So this is like a Uber for private aviation. So they
wow,
have so they have a membership. It's expensive, but when you look at the numbers, you're like it's
sure,
expensive. But when you think, so they got like 100 brand ambassadors. They got Tom Brady, Serena Williams, all the athletes, all this,
yeah,
and lots of celebrities, and those are like the brand ambassadors that are gonna help carry the card of getting the word out about the company. But so they got like a fleet of you know I think with the ones that aren't owned by them, it's like 3,500 private airlines, and you just go on an app, pick a private flight. You can, if you're a member, you can book a flight within 24 hours. So you can wake up today and say, you know what, I want to go to Cancun. Click the button, jump on a local private flight, go to Cancun. I think it's like with the membership, it ranges from like 4 to 6 grand for a group of 8 people. So you might say it sounds like a lot, 4 to 6 $4,000 to $6,000 for the flight. But when you got, you know, wealthier people, and they're like, I could take the whole clan for $4,000 to $6,000.
Yeah,
My whole group of people. I can take my family and maybe another couple with us. Something like
exactly.
that. So
That's
this,
intriguing. Wheels
and
up, eh? And they're coming via SPAC, Jay.
yep, they are, and it's cheap. It's like dirt cheap. It's like no one's caught on to it yet, and it's one of my sleeper picks of the year. So ticker symbol ASPL is the ticker on it. Um,
Just a sec.
Aloha, state of mind is asking, and look, and check this out. Here's the other thing: it's unlike any other SPAC. It's got a $900 million of revenue in 2021.
Oof.
Most of them are pre-revenue, or they got a concept or a philosophy. This one projects out 30% annual growth for the next 4 or 5 years. So it's going to be a growth company, and right now you can buy it for pennies on the dollar. Silly. So put that one on your radar. You heard it here.
Definitive agreement, or are they searching?
It's a definitive agreement, and yeah.
Damn.
So it's really kind of hard to find a whole lot of info on it. But main thing is just find the slide deck, the investor presentation, and read up on it. I mean, there's tons of YouTube videos
Yeah.
of people taking wheels up flight and stuff like that. You can
Uh-huh.
go that route, but it's a neat company. And then I
Heck
guess
yeah.
I was just tying that into that aviation is also being disrupted as well. And so it's a good one.
Man, thank
Oh,
you.
my man, right there. Matter of fact, financial awareness with K Skull. He made a video before I did. Me and him are like the only two YouTubers that have made videos. His is very high quality, so go check out financial awareness with K Skull.
I'd love to.
His video is fabulous. Um, he says, why hasn't ASPL had more price action? But he covered it. He did. I would say his coverage of it is better than mine because I'm starting to do what's called an 8 minute review. Like I'm doing a
Uh-huh.
video. I'm doing a video within 8 minutes. I'm trying to cram everything because people just don't want to watch stuff long anymore. They lose. So he did a little bit more of a deep
Got
dive
him.
into.
Kyle's in the
Yep,
house.
him right there. He did a fabulous job on it, and so yeah, really
He's,
impressed,
he's a sharp cookie.
no doubt.
I'm just glad he lets me hang out with him every now and then, man. He's got to come on the channel every now and then. Now he's doing really well, and shout out to Matt as well. That's super cool what those guys are doing over there, man, on the finance YouTube. Giving folks their shout outs a little bit. Matt's kind of an original gangster. He's been doing this just as long as I have, and really kind of cool to get that little shout out and acknowledgement. I put Matt right up there in the top tier of investors on YouTube, and I mean the totality of YouTube. Okay, all included. All right, I'd put some
Yeah.
capability of our group up against most anybody. But there he is. That's awesome. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.
hmm
Yeah. So what's a new investor to do now coming into the market? I just, it always makes me cringe because I've got just a little bit of pulse come through the channel and it's like, whoop, the market's down, Ryan. What do we do? And it's like a couple days, I appreciate you saying something, but this market up over 30,000. It's like that the last couple 2,500 of Dow points, I've just been kind of like chalk it up as a blow off top as far as I'm concerned. What's
Yeah.
your thoughts, man?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where I mean, we were bound and due for something. I mean, if you look, I was actually when I was in the backdrop because I figured we might talk about it. I looked it up, like, yeah, these are they got Panthers on the sides.
Sick.
So I actually picked them up at Target. Target, whatever your local team is, they got them for like it's only $30. So they're not no bows or anything, but they're pretty decent.
Hey, man,
Um,
what's wrong with Bose? Man, come on. You get these on sale. Come on, man.
well, the thing is, this one has a mic too, but if I use it, I mean, it sounds so bad, So
Oh,
they're
really?
not they're not high quality. But so yeah, so the spy is only off like 2.5%. Okay,
I know. I
from
know.
the top, guys. So now Nasdaq's been a little bit more aggressive. It's down like 6.4%, but still,
Yep.
it's we're not even 10%.
That's a rotation. I don't really think that's anything at all. I think it's a rotation. Like if you were happy about owning Apple last month, why aren't you happy about owning it now? Maybe Microsoft's a better example. It's still the same phenomenal company, so is Apple. But it's producing some opportunity, I think. I think I'm really still on the CrowdStrike bandwagon in large tech growth, as well as Salesforce.com as well. I think those two right there are really going to take that hybrid cloud. I mean, Microsoft is a given, and Adobe Systems is another given for me of some of my real favorite large cap growth tech, which my allocation calls for quite a bit because I'm a fairly aggressive investor. And man, I could just go shopping on tech because it's my favorite sector. It's an exciting time to be an investor, no doubt about that. You know,
Yeah, I'll tell you one that I saw. I actually kind of was fortunate. I don't know, maybe not fortunate, but I had just sold it. So, but it like really got hurt or hit real bad. Innovative Industrial Properties. It's a REIT. It's a they it's one of the only like MJ sector REITs, right? And it's been super high growth, and it just continues to be a high growth stock. That's a REIT. It's real weird that those you don't usually hear those two together. But
Mhm.
I sold it at like 215 just the other day. My lot of it. I needed some free cash, but yeah, I mean, it went down like 20-30% off of this correction. So right now you can pick that up at this crazy decent pricing right now. So
Even good stocks will sell off. You know, I know a discussion just here recently in the community has been to look at Lockheed Martin. You know that's taken a drawback too. So you know it happens. I think it's funny. I think when people talk to me about getting into stock market investing and they talk about their own analysis and getting excited about a stock as being enough. And I can tell you, sometimes the longer you've been doing this, you can realize that you can do all the research in the world and have a stock just completely licked and it'll go south on you. You know, so don't think for a second this thing is something that you can figure out. You know,
or it could be the opposite. Like I'll give you an example of one that
please.
I held it the whole time I was dividend investing. Eaton Vance, right? Fabulous company, you know, a dividend aristocrat, uh, lovely company. Always raising their dividends and incrementally growing, right? Well, guess what? When I decided to sell that thing, you know what happened? They got acquired. I think by who bought them? Was it one of the big companies, one of the big investment firms bought them, and it went up 50%. So that's like you're saying, they can sometimes go down, and then just there's
Yep.
on the other side of that, there can be a merger and acquisition or something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, or you just buy Tesla, right? And it goes up. It doesn't mean that you're just the greatest investor in the world, you know. I
That's
mean,
right.
it's relative, and I think it just speaks to my insistence that people really try to make their own definition of this stock market opportunity. I always use the analogy to try to keep yourself warm, but don't get so close that you get burned, okay? Because I've got some people that are coming to me and they're like, "Whoa, I don't know, Rye, I don't know, buddy," and I'm just like, "No, I had some killer goulash tonight for dinner, man. Trust me, it was legit. I just don't. This stuff doesn't bother me, and hopefully people don't take that as arrogant. It's just that, man, I've been through all that deliberation before, and I look at a stock go up. Like Hyliion popped. Shit, I was up 10 grand just a couple of weeks ago when it popped on the
Hmm.
news, right? I didn't bat an eye. It's no big deal. I was up 30 grand at the peak, you know. Took some profits on the way down, right? And then, I mean, my cost basis now, I've got whittled down to 18 bucks a share. I'm happy with that, off a couple bits. I'm fine. But I just, I wish that upon everybody. I do. Um, I think as far as entering into the stock market as a new investor now, I think it's challenging, and here's why. You've got all these people out here, and I'm somewhat guilty of this as well, to say, look, buy the best value that you can out there and live to fight another day. Buy passive, and there might be some element of truth to that, but look at the Gen X game, for example, right? I mean, that guy has got a portfolio that's just set it and forget it, right? And I think that the question is, and I would be interested to know his answer on this, is that the appropriate way to enter into the stock market for somebody who's 20 years old? I don't know.
No,
Ask that
yeah,
rhetorically, right? And I think and it's not aimed to impugn that program, right? I have a very similar program to Gen X, and I know you've got an aspect of quality in the portfolio as well, quality, value, etc., sleepy, boring stuff, right? It's easy. It's not that hard to buy Apple stock. It's not that hard. It's easy. It's even easier to buy passive ETFs or index funds or whatever your game is. It's a lot more difficult to expect that a new investor is going to creep into that growth, or even, dare I say, some of that speculative growth, in the way that they're going to be able to succeed at it. I hope I'm right, because there's a hell of a lot of opportunity out there. You just got to pay attention, and you really got to study. You got to, do your diligence, yes, but try to get your head right first. Okay. I don't want to see people get involved, and I don't want to see them get burned. Um, you know, I, does everybody need to pile into GameStop? I don't know. I'll leave that for the masses to answer, you know?
yeah. I think Gen X would probably say that also like because so how he buys positions.
Yeah.
He's like
Big.
I've never seen anybody who's um, as disciplined as he is
No,
to wait on the position. He buys it all at once. Well,
that's right.
majority of his position. Everyone else just talks about dollar cost averaging, and
I do.
that's I do too, because I mean
Yeah.
it's hard. Why sit in cash for so long? But
Yeah.
he will sit on quite a pile of cash and wait for an opportune time, then pounce. So he's a very disciplined. New investors aren't going to be able to do that. You're just not going to. I mean, well, majority of new investors aren't going to be able to do that. And like you said, really, I like to, but I switched to saying go from SPY to QQQ just to be a little bit more aggressive than Nasdaq 100. So that's my because there's just more
Yeah.
more upside to that. Me personally.
Yeah.
But spies fine too. But just something like that. If you're brand new, just learning, so you're not like burning through a bunch of losses. So a passive ETF or something like that to start with to get your feet wet, so you can do research, but you're still invested some. That's really a good plan.
Let's talk channels, YouTube channels, Jason. What you got planned here going into 2021? Any short term, medium term, long term goals? Any strategic initiatives you got that you'd like to roll out to the community?
Main thing is I'm aggressively pursuing interviews with CEOs, getting them pretty regularly now with these good SPACs. I
Awesome.
recently did one with. There's a whole new sector called eVTOL, which is electric vehicle vertical takeoff and landing. These are going to be like Uber Air, taxis. And so I got one of those companies coming public via SPAC. Archer Aviation. I did an interviewed one of it was actually their co-CEOs. I interviewed both of them. It was a good interview. Something forward thinking. That's a new sector that you're going to be eventually hearing about if you haven't heard about it yet. But no, main thing is in probably 2 months I'm moving, and I'm gonna build out a studio at my new house, and then
That's true.
I'm gonna be going hard then on YouTube. So I'm hoping to even get better audio and video, better camera, better audio, better everything at that new spot. So
Yeah,
stay tuned.
and yeah, so that's the house is coming along good, man.
Yeah, drywall's in now, so now we're down to interior and fixtures really, and flooring and interior paint and all that stuff. So not long, a couple months.
That'll feel good, man. That'll feel good.
Yeah,
You're gonna
pretty
get yourself
excited.
a Cadillac barbecue, man.
Well, I got one here at the rental. I do got that's one thing you got to have. So I got a good gas grill for sure.
One of these days, Jason, I can live the normal life. I told my brother, I said, one of these days when I retire, I'm gonna buy all those things that I couldn't buy when I was traveling around. It. We spend the majority of our time trying to downsize. Like we're big on Craigslist, man. We just I get paid to move around with my weight, but I can't stand having a bunch of stuff because when we move so often, I mean, our stuff gets just obliterated, scratched up. We've got all furniture from, decades ago since I've been in the military, moving all over this fine country. So when I do have the opportunity to settle, that'd be awesome. And I'm kind of looking in the neck of the woods that you're in, actually. It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Some good value. Like, if I told you what we're getting a house for, that's and the square foot in the bedrooms, you'd be like, "Are you serious?" Like it's a good deal. But
Really?
the thing is, it's went up. They've inked since we inked our contract. They every 2 weeks it seems like she emails us and says another price increase. I mean, we don't have to pay the price increase. It's
Right.
basically it's equity that's it's went up like 5 times. We
Yep.
since we inked it, I think it's because the lumber has went up and
Yep.
everything,
It
and
is.
all of the
And the market.
windows,
And
the
the market's on
market
fire.
too. So we built without doing anything, just in price increases. We built 23 grand in equity,
I believe
just
it.
just sitting here while we're building.
Yep. I believe it.
So it's pretty
That's
cool.
that's great news. That's a good feeling. I wouldn't mind offline, Jay, if you'd email me over the spot, kind of an area that you're looking, because I look and it's confusing. I look all around Lake Norman, and I'm like on both sides of it, and up in the city. I've been to the south side there, and I like that area. I really do. It's kind of
What
tops on my list someday.
the south side or lake side?
North
Yeah,
Lakeside. It just I
yeah,
don't know, it's got a different feel to it, I think,
yeah,
It was
yeah.
definitely a country feel, I think, down south when we're down there visiting, but
Right.
we didn't get to check out the north side. But I guess that's where all the activity is. So it's but
Um, K Skull says best barbecue recipe: dry rub or marinade, marinate it and dry rub it. How about that?
fantastic.
Flavor. Appreciate it. Let's see. Personally, I'm a steady old school stock buyer that dips and will come up eventually just along. J Matt looking for the 10x. Not saying he's not long, but two different styles. Yeah. I mean, I used to be you, a little hot state of mind. But even when I was a dividend growth investor for the longest, and I will pivot back to that at some point in my investing career, but not right now. But I think it's one of the best and easiest styles of investing, and no doubt it's a pillar for investing. You know, so
Jason,
but
you've got the Discord and Patreon group as well. Can you share that with the group? Because this will go international. I've got a pretty good, group of people who are looking for these communities because I've built mine. I don't know if I have quite the strategic nucleus that you do, so I don't know if it's going to work on my channel, and I'm very careful with trying to switch the message up or trying to do something like that because I already have my private group, which I enjoy that, and I don't know how much I'm going to enjoy Patreon, but I think we've talked, and I think a lot of your circles of discussion, you guys have the ability to go in there and just kind of play ping pong with different ticker symbols. And I think that's a source of some extreme knowledge. Would you agree with that?
yeah, because another reason it works with SPACs is because they are, and why it's so successful is because it's like news breaks, and then you got to do research, and it's like always real time like researching.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like with regular common stocks, you most people have all that information already. You're trying to get out ahead of the pack with SPACs once the news drops. In a down SPAC season, not that big of a deal. But once they're roaring and going up, it's very very critical to have timing.
Is there such thing as a down SPAC season? I think I saw the day that it got kind of whacked, and I think that was a good move on your part to. I don't know if it was instinct or you just felt like maybe the allocation was a little heavy, whatever it was. I mean, sometimes you get lucky like that a little bit, and um, but there's still those strategic shots. I mean, do you foresee the SPAC market still remaining strong, or do you think we'll go into a lull period, or do you think that, like you said, it's kind of tethered a little bit maybe to the tech, right? The top NASDAQ, and when that
Small
suffers,
cap.
it's like, I gotcha.
Small cap, small. So
Sure.
they operate more like small caps. And I mean, and tech is what small tech, but
Yep.
more like IPOs. When IPOs also sell off, so they sell off violently when they sell off. So like yeah, anyway, but my Patreon is patreon.com/jmacinvesting. And if like, but you got to know that going into SPACs but the good thing is now my group and the folks in my Patreon and Discord now, this isn't their first rodeo, and now like because it was in the first like in October there was a violent sell off. I mean I was like a babysitter, having to cheerlead everybody and say, look, it's gonna be all right. Don't worry, guys. Just
Why
stay
you do?
invested.
Why you do that?
I mean, I do that a little bit.
I ain't gotta tell you to toughen up, man.
Look, I do that a little bit, and then I do that. Then then I do the drill sergeant. I'm like, all right,
Okay.
just stop, man, grow up. So, but I ease my way into it. At first, I'm like, okay, all right, chill, guys. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be all right. So, but then if everybody's just crying, I'm like, I'll put there's this drill sergeant gif. It says, "You will not cry. You will not."
I love it. I love it, man.
I throw that one in there, and but yes, it's fun. So we all have fun with it. But now, like basically, this second time around, everyone is the theme is all right. Yeah, we've been here before. So people are growing up. So I think the SPAC market is also growing up. Where last time when there was a big sell off, and then like a lot of people were scared to come back into SPACs. This time, I don't think there will be a longer period where they won't come back. They'll come back.
Interesting. Jay, I got a couple minutes, man. Any closing words, and then I'll shut it down for Friday. Been most enjoyable having you on, my brother. It's a treat for me, man. And I just want to thank you again. And again, if you guys are new to the live stream here, Jay's kind of a mainstay. He's been with me now on the channel off and on. I've been on his channel too. Certainly want to check out his message. There's a lot of other channel creator opportunities as well in the thread. So when they come on here and post, this is like gold, guys. So pick out your circles on social media. Happy hunting. If you don't like my message, certainly you can kick over to some of these other circles, but we're really trying to advance and push the envelope and make sure that a lot of different opinions about how the many different ways of winning in the stock market are pushed out to the community. So Jay, closing words, man?
Nope, I appreciate it. I hope everyone has great success, and I appreciate you having me on, sir.
Man, you open door policy, Jay. Be well. All the best to the family, my brother.
See y'all.
Cheers, man. Awesome. We had a couple minutes anyway. I did post the link in here. I'm going to stay back. I always do. This is kind of a cool way to close out the live stream at the end of every week. I've had some really awesome people pop in that want to come in and engage, certainly, and listen to the message every Friday. It's a good thing, man. It really is. I think these social media circles they're a lot of fun. They mean a lot to me. I think they mean a lot to you guys. We really didn't get to touch on. I actually had some page of notes to get to tonight for the message at hand. We'll roll those out in due time. It's always a special treat when I can come on, have a guest on like Jay, and Jay's got an open door. So when he pops on here, he helps me run the live stream, and that's the way it's going to be on YouTube here for the foreseeable future. Okay. Some strategic initiatives here. We are going to continue to roll out the M1 Finance Opportunity. You guys can kick over to independentinvestorgroup.com. Very, very exciting stuff. We will roll out a sale on that, but for right now, I'm focused on my core group. I did roll out the a la carte M1 Finance Opportunity. If you want to seek that out, I'm going to stay back and do a little M1 tutorial after we close down the live stream tonight. And also a plug for Kyle and Matt as well, who are my brothers from another mother, one from the north and one to the south. Together, they are my brothers. You guys can kick over there as well, help them support their project. It's always entertaining. When I finish up here, I'll kick over as well. But a lot of fun tonight, man. Really, really appreciate you guys and your loyalty to this channel, man. Through following the Independent Investor channel, man, we hope to embolden your own personal empowerment journey. That's the key to it. Okay, I'm doing it. I try to put my money where my mouth is and follow along a program that of which I teach along. And that way you guys can really try to maximize that potential for yourself. All right, guys. So with that said, we'll close out the live stream. We'll catch you next Friday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. All the best to you guys. And I will drop one last link in here after I do the outro. Guys, be well, be safe, and we'll check you next week.